Well, on that note, I don't know if I want you to be comfortable for the sermon. Because if you're comfortable, then you don't do anything about it. We're going today, we're going to look at how hurt hinders, but healing is possible. We're doing a 3-part series dealing with past hurts. We all have them, and it is a very sensitive subject. Very few people deal with their past hurts, and I feel like God has put it on my heart because I feel like until we deal with our past hurts, then we're not able to serve God to our full potential. So what we looked at last week, what hurt happens, today we're going to look at how hurt hinders, and actually in preparing this one, I'm breaking it up in 2 parts, so we're going to spend 2 weeks sort of on hurt hinders. First part today is sort of looking how hurt hinders, and then start taking steps how to, what needs to be done to help bring resolution. And then next week we'll look at probably the most important element, and I encourage you strongly to be here, is on forgiveness. But today we're going to look at hurt hinders. Last week we'll look at how hurt happens, and then we're going to look in 2 weeks on how hurt can be healed. Last week what hurt happens, wanted to make sure you understand that everybody is hurt. Everybody gets hurt in life. Life is hard. I tell kids and teenagers, I work with them all the time, life is hard. And of course they think it's hard because they didn't get their way or they didn't get their toy or something. And try to mind, it gets a lot worse. Like there will be things that will just will crush you, literally crush you, and you don't even know if you're going to make it through, and it changes you, and you will get scarred. Some of it's your own doing, some of it's other people's doing, some of it's just life or whatever. But life is hard, and hurts are going to happen. And God allows hurts to happen. And God can use those hurts to make us different, sometimes make us stronger, sometimes make us more compassionate, or maybe even more motivated. But God can use our hurts, and does use our hurts, in some way, shape, or form to bring glory to Him. But we need to deal with them correctly, but hurt happens. Then today we're going to look at how hurt hinders. It hinders us if we don't deal with hurt correctly. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 42. We're reading through Joseph's life and parts of it, and we're going to look at verses 1 through 24. If you're using one of our Pew Blue Bibles, that may be in the back of the chair in front of you. It's on page 69 in the Blue Pew Bible. It was Genesis chapter 42. Read a few verses for you this morning, 1 through 24. And what we learned last week when we were talking about hurt happens was looking at the life of Joseph, and we saw hurt that he experienced. Now, if you're a student of the Bible and you know Joseph's life, you know that this is just a part of his life. And you might know what the end game is. But even if you don't, the only thing you need to know about Joseph so far is he had a lot of brothers. He was the youngest of his brothers and his dad, and was his dad's favorite. And he would have, we didn't go into all this detail, but he would have dreams, and he would tell them to his brothers, and sort of insinuating that he was going to rule over them one day. And of course, in that society, the oldest, got the inheritance, was more or less the dominant one in the family. But they didn't like that when he would tell them his dreams or so forth. But anyway, they developed a hatred for their younger brother. And then they, in turn, betrayed him. They were going to kill him. And then one of the brothers has some compassion for Joseph. And instead of killing him, it could have ended a lot worse, but they end up selling him into slavery to a foreign nation. So they loaded up on a caravan and took him to a completely different nation. And that could have been bad. It could have been and some of it was bad, I'm sure, and some of it was hard living. Whatever a servant's life was like in a foreign land, I'm sure it wasn't easy. Had to deal with a lot of challenges, a lot of pain, but his hurt, I'm sure, was in part, probably two-part, is hurt from what his brothers did. Older brothers that were supposed to protect him betray him. And the second part was hurt that the God he served let it happen. What did he do that was so wrong? I'm sure he asked those questions. But he gets sold into slavery, he goes over to Egypt, and then God starts blessing it. And bless him so much that he goes from being a slave to being second in command. And we didn't read all of that, but you can read through, and God just started blessing him and gave him different gifts or so forth. And the guy in charge like, whoa, there's something special about this guy. He's having dreams, he's doing interpretations, and he's saving my nation. There was a famine coming, and he was warned about it, and Joseph warned him about it and then told him what to do. And he said, that sounds good. Thank you for doing that. You do what you tell me that needs to be done. I'll let you be in charge of it. And it was, and God just started blessing him. It seemed like everything Joseph was touching, it was being blessed, and everybody was seeing that. So his master just kept giving more power and influence. And then even though Egypt was doing pretty good in the famine because of they were prepared and stored up food, other places were not. And this is where we sort of pick up the story where Jacob, not in Egypt, Jacob was Joseph's dad, coming up with a plan. We're not doing good. We need food. We know Egypt has food. So he sends his sons to go get some food. Let's pick up in verse 1 of chapter 42. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, why do you just keep looking at each other? He continued, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us so that we may live and not die. Then 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with the others because he was afraid that harm might come to him. So Israel's sons were among those who went to buy grain, for the famine was in the land of Canaan also. Now Joseph was the governor of the land, the one who sold grain to all its people. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, they bowed down to him with their face to the ground. As soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. Where do you come from, he asked. From the land of Canaan, they replied, to buy food. Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Then he remembered his dreams about them and said to them, you're spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected. No, my lord, they answered, your servants have come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies. No, he said to them, you have come to see where our land is unprotected. But they replied, your servants were 12 brothers and the sons of one man who lives in the land of Canaan. The younger is now with our father, and the one is no more. Joseph said to them, it is just as I told you, you are spies. And this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison so that your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If you are not, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies. And he put them all in custody for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, do this and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison while the rest of you go back and take grain back for your starving households. But you must bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be verified that you may not die. This they proceeded to do. They said to one another, surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life. but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come upon us. Reuben replied, didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must give an account for his blood. They did not realize that Joseph could understand them since he was using an interpreter. He turned away from them and began to weep, but then turned back and spoke to them again. And Simon taken from them and bound before their eyes. And the story continued, but we're going to pause there. So Joseph was in Egypt and he was in charge of all the grain. There was famine everywhere. So Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to get some grain. It so happens the one that they had to go and ask for grain was actually Joseph, their younger brother, that they had sold into slavery years before. They didn't recognize him. He looked a lot different. But he recognized them. And then it really doesn't explain what he was doing, but he sort of started playing the game with them. He knew who they were, but then he started accusing them of being spies. And they tried to defend themselves and say, we're not spies. We're all brothers. We have one father, and there were 12 of us, and then one of them died, or so forth. Give them the history of his family. And they said, this is all of us, but there was one, Benjamin, the youngest right now, and he's back with Jacob. And Joseph's sort of playing this game. It's like, okay, well, I still think you're spies. I don't believe what you're saying is true. What I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to lock some of you up and maybe locks them up for 3 days. And then he sends some of them back and he keeps one as prisoner. And he says, oh, you can take some food back, but I'm going to keep one of you like hostage until you bring the youngest back. The youngest, Benjamin, Joseph hadn't met before. So he said, well, go back and bring your youngest brother, and then I'll believe you. Sort of playing a game with them. And then they're hearing all this, and then they're talking to each other. They're from the land of Canaan. They're speaking probably Hebrew. He was in Egypt. He wasn't speaking Hebrew. There was an interpreter beside him, and he was using an interpreter to speak to him. And then they started talking among themselves in Hebrew, thinking that Joseph couldn't understand them, and said, we know why this is happening to us. It's because what we did to Joseph, our brother, long ago. We did something that was wrong. And one of them brothers said, I told you so, we shouldn't have did it. They felt like they were being punished for their sins committed a long time ago. I want you to focus on verse 24. Here Joseph was when they started talking about him. He knew they were talking about him. He turned away from them and began to weep. This is representative of the hurt that happened to him a long time ago. He's changed. This is a new life. He's not a slave anymore. He's not begging for his life from his brothers. He's second in command in Egypt. It ended up good for him. He's doing even a lot better than his family is back in Canaan. Yet it still pierced his heart. Started weeping because it hurt him what his family did to him, what his brothers did to him. It hurt him. And Joseph had to deal with it. Now, if you were reading this story for the first time, you don't know where this story is going exactly. He knew who they were. He's starting out being mean. Is he really going to be mean? Is he really going to get his judgment, his revenge on them? He could. He's got the power to do it. He's just got to say, I'm not giving you food. Go back home. You get what you deserve. You think that thought ever crossed his mind? I think it did. Because we read the Bible, and a lot of us think that, I don't know, we don't put the human element in it. It had to cross his mind. Now, how long it stayed in his mind, I don't know. Is it just a fleeting second? Oh, man, here's my chance. No, I won't do that. Or did it stay there a while? And maybe when he first saw him, maybe instead of feeling the hurt and weeping, maybe he got angry. Maybe his blood pressure went up really, really high. Or maybe he was confused. Or maybe he didn't know what to do. But I'm pretty sure somewhere in there the thought come about, because it's human nature, right? Somebody does you wrong, when you get a chance to get them back, and it's easy for you to do it, you at least think about it. I bet Joseph thought about it. But then when they started talking about him, that's when he started getting a little emotional. It hit home. And even when he got emotional, that doesn't mean he had sympathy or compassion. That just means he was reliving the hurt. Then after he relives the hurt, then he's got to make a decision which way he's going to go. We'll read a little bit more next week on how the story will shape up there. Most of you probably know it, but to understand that hurt hinders, as we sort of a theme of our church and our motto, and a 3-step goal for our church is to get you to surrender. Surrender one time or the first time, and then live a life of surrender, constantly surrendering to God. It's a lifestyle. It begins with the first step, asking Jesus to come into your heart, then it becomes a lifestyle, or should. Then the second step we look at is saturate. We believe after you surrender, then you've got to take some action. Get bad out of your life and bring more good in your life. And that's where you could be like growing in Christ or growing in spiritual maturity or so forth. And all of that is done, and that's the thing as well, that it's not a one-time thing, it's continual. You constantly saturate yourself with good, godly things. And you're constantly getting bad things out of your life. But then that leads almost to our ultimate purpose in serving. We're not here just to experience the love of God. We're here to bring glory to God. We're here to be used by God. And when you read the Bible, you get that over and over again. And everybody's got a different story. Moses, Abraham, Job, Joseph. Everybody's got a different story, and it looks different. But what you conclude is we're all here to serve God. Not ourselves, but God. And I think to serve God to our fullest potential, we got to deal with the hurt. For hurt prohibits us from giving God our all. And how does he do that? Well, I believe unhealed hurt fosters some things in us. And on this list, I'm sure you could probably check off a number of these. I can check off a number of these. It's like, why are these things there? A lot of it goes back to our trust and faith in God, and it deals with a lot of hurt in our life. What can unhealed hurt foster? It can foster fear. We all live with a lot of fear. Weird thing is, most of us think we're the only ones that fear that. Well, I fear this, and I fear what other people think. I fear failure. I fear disappointing people. I fear nobody will like me if they really know who I am. We just have all these fears, and we look around in life and we think, well, everybody else is doing good and okay and smiling, so they don't have those issues. It's just me. But in reality, we all have some of them, and some of them are fostered because of the unhealed hurt that we have. Self-doubt. Well, I can never do that. Read your Bible. One thing you see over and over again, it doesn't matter about you. God can use any of us to do anything. And God uses a lot of slackers in the Bible. A lot of people that's got a lot of issues. And that's one reason why they show it to us. They'll tell you everything about David and Moses, some of the things that would be embarrassing. But they're in there because they're real people and they got issues. And they're not perfect. But God still uses them. Same goes with us. God can use us, but a lot of us have self-doubt on a lot of things. Depression. Fear of judgment from others. Or even becoming a people pleaser. You want to be liked. You want to be loved. You want people to like you. Hurts your feelings when they don't. It hurts your feelings when you find out they're talking about you behind your back. I think it also makes us very defensive. Because we're trying to be very protective of ourselves. So things happen and we're on alert. So sometimes we'll attack because we feel like we're being attacked because we're insecure. Then there's shame as well. It's amazing that hurts that happen to us, even a lot of it can be our fault. And a lot of it is not our fault. It's amazing, even the hurt that isn't our fault, we still feel shame on it. And we can let all these things just weigh us down, and we get really so self-consumed that we look at our list and it's like, well, I'm not able to do much of anything. I'm just going to play it safe. I'm just going to go through the actions of being religious. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to do the best I can, and then that's it. Because I'm not good enough for anything else. But that's not true. And it's amazing when you allow your hurt to be healed, then all those things that used to hold you down can then be used for great things. I love listening to people's testimony. And it's hard. I don't know if you've ever gave your testimony in church. We're going to start requiring people to give their testimony in church. Yes, I'm joking, so thanks for laughing. You know I'm not serious. But it is so good. It's hard. Okay, number one, it's hard to speak in front of others. 95% of the people, that's their biggest fear, would be speaking in public. Not everybody. Some people are born extroverted and it's their gift and they just love it. But most of us don't like speaking in front of others. But then you get up in front of others and you tell some of the deepest personal things that you've gone through. And you remember my illustration last week about my cat? How to just lay on the bed with his belly exposed, so vulnerable. And I'm sorry, I should have had a picture of that, but that's just when I think of just being vulnerable. When I think of up here and you just spilling your guts out and you're telling people things that happened to you, and then all these issues come up. Wow, people are really going to know how bad I am. Nobody's going to talk to me anymore. They might kick me out of the church. They find out things I did or things I was even thinking about doing. Hurt needs to be dealt with. It hinders us. So now I'm going to go through the hard part of steps to deal with unhealed hurt. As I was thinking about this and praying about this and pondering all this, the first thing that came to mind, because I think this is a step really for everything. First thing is you got to commit to it. Make a commitment. And what is a commitment? I love being married. I love marriages. It's a beautiful thing. Growing up, you took it for granted. Everybody's married. And then in our times today, it's weird. Not everybody gets married. Not everybody wants to get married. But when you get married, there's something special about it. And explaining to my kids not too long ago, or talking about relationships a little bit, or one of them anyway, and I was telling them, when you're dating, that's the best that you're ever going to see, the best light you're ever going to see a person in. They're going to be the nicest. They're going to be the sweetest. They're going to be the most patient. And they'll give you all this attention. Then you get married. Then you really see them. And not only that, you see them when they first wake up in the morning. You see them when they're grouchy. You see all the warts and all. When they about marriage, it's a commitment. You make a commitment and you stick to it. We just started the new year. A lot of us, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know, made a New Year's resolution. Are you sticking to it? I think probably 95% of the people don't. But New Year's resolution is different than a marriage. It's a bigger commitment. To deal with your unhealed hurt, number one, you have to make a commitment. Because this road isn't going to be easy. I never joined the military. I respect all those that have and do. But I know when you join the military, you sign a little piece of paper, and you hand your life over for at least 2 years. Isn't that the first agreement? 2-year commitment. And guess what they do? They do anything they want to you. I'm so fascinated. I like watching the people that are training or going through the training to be a Navy SEAL. It's supposed to be some of the hardest training. And you see what those people go through. I wouldn't make it. Not all the hard work and stuff. I couldn't make that through that. I couldn't stand the cold. I was watching one of them. They had them on the beach in North Carolina. Whoa, that sounds great. How hard can it be? Except it was in November. I had them out in the water. They get in the water. They get out of the water. They get in the water, out of the water. I have a little medical doctor going around testing their heart rate ever so often to make sure they're not going to die because they get so cold. So when you meet a Navy SEAL, there's some respect there. They were committed. And they weren't committed because it's going to be easy. They weren't committed and with an exit ramp. Well, if it gets too bad, I'll just have a little bell you can ring and just leave at any time. I'm not going to commit. Well, I'll try it, and if it gets too hard, I'll just ring the bell and leave. No, that's not the way it works. I mean, you can. Probably regret it. But I don't know if many of them do it. Well, maybe a lot of them do. But then they regret it, and it's funny, the ones that, watching these documentaries, the ones that ring their bell, you know what they do? A lot of them go back and try it again. There's a commitment there, a real commitment. If you want to deal with some unhealed hurt in your life, the first thing you got to do is you got to commit. You got to tell God, I commit to letting you deal with this hurt. No matter what happens. No exit ramp. No ringing the bell. I'm committing. Knowing full well it's not going to be an easy ride. All that hurt and stuff you buried. It's painful stuff. That's why you buried it, right? You got to pull it back out. Giving this illustration the other day. Probably should have brought one to make it more, hit it home a little bit more, at least got a picture of it. Okay, maybe a lot of y'all are fishermen, maybe. Do you like catfish? You may like to eat them. Do you like to catch them? When you catch a catfish, do you like to take it off the hook? Catfish are very tricky to unhook because why? They got those little barbs, right? You ever look at one of them barbs under a microscope? Or look at it after it's like from a skeleton or something so you can see it really clear? It's got little saw blades on it. But they're sort of like little hooks are angled when they first poke you, they're angled away from you. So they go in your skin very easy. Wow, I just got poked. And then you go to pull it out, and it's like a saw blade, just ripping. Aiden, I got to tell this story because it goes right along with it. So me and Aiden was fishing on a boat one time. He was a little bitty guy. And we, just me and him in the boat, and was out and found a little spot where we was catching some catfish. So I'd reel it in and get it off the hook, and he'd try to throw it over or so forth. And we caught a couple, and they were just, most of them were little bitty guys. And I caught one and gave it to him, or I don't know if I gave it to him. I went to go give it to him, and it slipped out of my hands, and it fell. He was wearing flip-flops. So the catfish fell, poked him in the toe. It poked, and it stayed there. So I got a little scar right there where I got poked with a catfish. It poked in, and it pulled out, and it hurt really bad. His poked in so hard, it didn't come out. So it took me a minute to realize what was going on. And then he started experiencing some pain. I looked down, I realized what was going on. I grabbed his foot and the catfish. I realized this is a serious situation. So I know catfish, been around the fish a little bit. First thing I did is I broke it off and throw the fish out. That way it's not flopping around, and then I can analyze the situation. So I held on to it and twisted the catfish. It broke, and then threw it off, and then I'm looking. And I see it's pretty far in his toe. Little toe, a medium-sized catfish barb. It's like, okay, I'm going to have to pull it out. So I grab it, start pulling. Okay, it's not moving. I'm going to have to pull it really hard. This is going to be really painful. So then I grab it, and I start giving some pressure. Still, it's not coming out. And then I decide, oh my goodness, if I pull this as hard as I can, it's going to rip half of his toe off. This isn't going to be good. So then I had an idea. If I can't pull it out, maybe I can push it through. Which worked actually really good. Near the end of the barb, it's a little bit bigger, so I had to push it through. But yeah, it's a traumatic thing. It's scarred me for life, maybe scarred Aiden for life. That was a physical hurt, but this emotional hurt pain that I'm talking about is the same thing. The catfish barb, it's in there. And we just leave it. Because you go to get it, you wiggle it, it hurts. You let it sit there a little bit, not as bad. Maybe you forget about it, maybe even a little bit. And then somebody steps on it. Oh my. Pushes it down a little bit. You remember it again. And you walk around with this pain most of your life. And you sort of get used to it a little bit. Get accustomed to it as I get older, like arthritis in your joints and things like that. You learn to tolerate it a little bit, and I think a lot of us, that's what we do with some of our past hurts. Then I'm showing up and I'm telling you, you need to get that catfish barb and you got to get it out of there. It's going to be a little bit more painful. Even if we push it all the way through, it's going to have to get widened a little bit. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt really bad. It may hurt just as bad getting it out as it did the first time when it got in there. So you got to know that beforehand. You got to expect it, but you got to make a commitment. Okay, I'm in this. I'm going to do it. By the way, I did immediately take him to the emergency room after that. I feel like this is our emergency room. I told you the pictures that I'm using for this series is a little chapel room in a hospital. And I just cut up some of the pictures. This is the cross there in the hospital. Many of y'all have had surgeries in your life. Surgeries they're doing better, but they're pretty invasive, and there's pain, there's recovery. This is going to be the same. But I'm asking, begging you, pleading with you, make that commitment. Get it healed up once and for all. It's going to be painful. It's going to be a process. But you got to commit. Second step, pray. I imagine most of us, you give us 5 minutes, we can give you 3 hurts probably pretty quick that have scarred us the most in life. There's probably some hurts that are really deep. We've done a good job for decades blocking them off. So what hurts do you need to deal with? There may be a lot of them. I don't know if you can deal with all of them, but you pray and God will show you the hurts that you need to deal with. I promise you it's usually going to be the biggest, most painful hurt. But you don't get to decide that. Pray and let God decide that. And He'll do it. He'll bring it back to your mind, and then you start thinking about it. It seems like all the time. You're going to see something on TV. You're going to hear a conversation, and then you're going to be, that thought is instantly going to be repetitive to keep coming back. And that's how you know, okay, this is what I need to deal with. Then you need to start digging. It's a hard part. You got to uncover the hurt. How do you do that? You got to get it out. So you got to relive it. And I don't know, maybe it's possible to get in front of a mirror or do it inside your head, but I tell you the best way to do is you need to talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that you can trust. Or talk to a total stranger that you feel safe with. But you got to talk and you start getting that stuff out. Start uncovering it. And usually what happens, you start digging, it's a little bit at a time. So you just start talking. Well, I had this issue when I was a kid, and then maybe who you're talking to, they'll start asking questions. Well, why did you not like this person? Or do you feel like you still have hatred for that person? Or what do you think of this? Or what exactly happened? Give me the details. Give me every detail of what happened. Do you remember how you felt at that time? You're digging it up. You're reliving it, and it's painful. And there should be emotion involved. You're not going to sit there stoic and try to be composed. It's going to be painful. You're going to have some reaction. But you got to start digging. You got to start getting it out. You can't deal with it until you start digging it up. Now imagine that most of us, we're really good. We buried it really good. And a lot of us, we want to dig just deep enough so we can see the top of it. Okay, well, there it is. Well, no, that's good. We found it. And then let's start digging around the edges. Maybe have to loosen up all the dirt around. Maybe have to get dirt loose underneath. That's painful. But all that's got to be done before you can pick it up and give it to God. No, God will walk you through this process, and it's not enjoyable. Only an idiot would want to do it for the experience, but you need to do it for the service of God. You got to look at yourself, and you got to realize, I am a vessel of God. My purpose in life is to give God glory. And if I deal with this, God can use me in a great, massive way to serve Him. And at the same time, you get to experience freedom and you get to experience healing. Next step, digging it up, then you find a resolution. And this is what we're going to talk about next week. A lot of it's going to have to do with asking for forgiveness and forgiving others. But you got to start digging it up first. And I would encourage you, pray about what God wants you to do. Maybe He'll bring somebody into your life. Maybe there's somebody in your life now that can talk with you, meet with you. Maybe you need to hire a professional counselor. Maybe you need to just ask a good, godly Christian person that you know to counsel you. And I say counseling, it's really, you're just talking, you're letting it out. But don't let it stay there. Do something about it. Last week I sort of introduced you, if you didn't know, about Dennis Jernigan. And he did this, last week the song was Devastated by Your Love, talking about how God can use bad things really to bring out the best in you. But this song is one that also meant a lot to me. And it's really kind of a funny song. It's talking about, if you can just sit with me, he's talking to God, if you can just sit with me a while, if you could just hold me. And it's good because it sounds like a kid, right? But we're all on the inside, we're all like emotional kids. We're all very vulnerable. That's what we want. The same thing kids want. We want to be loved. We want to be cared for. We want to, that's what we want anyway. And as you go through this process, you will need God to hold you. You will need God to comfort you at a level that He's never comforted you before. And He'll do it. It's not going to be painless, but He will comfort you through the process. I just want you to listen to this song, and I would encourage you as you go through, you make a commitment and you pray, and God shows you some things, and you start digging it up, and you start going through the process. You may even want to listen to this song or similar songs like it, where you're just asking God to hold you during some dark times. I'm going to play it. Just let God speak to you. It's just going to be these words up there. You can spend some time in prayer, some time in reflection and deep thought. But listen to the words and let them hit your heart.
When I cannot feel, when my wounds don't heal, Lord, I humbly kneel, hidden in you. Lord, you are my life, so I don't mind to die, just as long as I'm hidden in you. If I could just sit with you a while, if you could just hold me, nothing could touch me, though I'm wounded, though I die. If I could just sit with you a while, I need you to hold me, moment by moment, till forever passes by. crying out, my God, and hidden in you. Lord, I need you now, more than I know how. So I humbly bow, hidden in you. If I could just sit with you a while, if you could just hold me, nothing could touch me, though I'm wounded, though I die. If I could just sit with you a while, I need you to hold me, moment by moment, till forever passes by. Could just sit with you a while, I need you to hold me, moment by moment, till forever passes by. Moment by moment, till forever passes by.
Hurt hinders, but healing is possible. Allow God to do a great work in you by bringing healing to you. Because you hinder yourself, but then you're also hindering the work of God. It's hard for God to use hurt-filled people that carries all the baggage when he wants you to have freedom. So one of the signs, not saying everybody's got to do this, is when you can stand up in front of others and your life an open book, and you throw out everything, that's when you know you got freedom. I'm not saying everybody's got to do that, but God uses your story. Maybe in front of a church, maybe to a coworker, maybe to a family member. Once you get that freedom, once that healing occurs, then God can just use you and pour out his blessing to others through you.